The 1st of December 2018, Auckland, New Zealand. A post aired where the City Life Hotel's third-floor lift was silently climbing upwards. Inside the lift were a boy and a girl. Looking at them, it was clear they were a happy couple. But who knew that behind that smile was a silence that would soon turn into screams? Because the lift's journey was started by two people, but only one would return. The next day, on the 2nd of December, was her birthday, her 22nd birthday. Her mother was wishing her on WhatsApp. Friends were calling repeatedly, but no one got a response. The girl who was chatting and laughing with the world just hours ago had suddenly disappeared. A few days later, a suitcase was found buried underground in a forest, and inside the suitcase was the girl's body. Her name was Grace Millane, a girl who had only set out to travel the world, but was met only with death. And now the question was not just who killed Grace, but what happened that night that led to her murder. You will know everything in detail in today's video, and by now, you must have understood that I'm talking about the Grace Millane murder case. Grace Millane was a completely calm and cheerful girl whose only dream was to travel the world. She completed her graduation in advertising and marketing from the University of Lincoln and then decided to take a one-year gap and just travel. A solo trip where she would be alone, experiencing new cities and new people. Her family was also quite open-minded and always encouraged Grace to live life on her own terms and gave her the courage to take this trip. Grace booked tickets to New Zealand. No one stopped her, but no one thought this trip could be her last. Grace arrived in New Zealand on the 20th of November 2018, and wherever she went, she would write a diary, post photos on Instagram, and call her family daily. Everything seemed completely calm and normal, completely cool, and her smile and happiness were still intact. But then, on the evening of the 1st of December, Grace had a conversation on the Tinder app with the same boy she had been talking to earlier, Jesse, who had written on his profile that he was a successful businessman, traveled, and was self-made. During the conversation, they became quite close. They started liking each other, and then they decided to meet for dinner that same evening. Before leaving her hostel to meet Jesse, Grace had sent her location to her friends so they could help if any problem arose. Then they met at a bar in Auckland's Sky City complex. They had wine and she seemed quite happy. CCTV footage clearly showed they were quite close. A little later, Jesse proposed they go to City Life Hotel where he was staying. Grace found this a bit strange, but had met people during her travels before, and Jesse's behavior still seemed quite normal and good to her. She ignored the bad feeling inside her and went to the hotel with him. The hotel's CCTV recorded their lift moment, where we started this story. But after that, silence descended. The next morning, Grace's friends and family were not getting any response from her, although messages were being read, but not replied to. Hotel staff said Grace did not return, but Jesse was reacting as if nothing had happened and as if he had never met Grace. Surprisingly, that morning he had set up a date with another girl on the same Tinder app just 12 hours later. But as the police began investigating, the truth started to emerge. What was done and why it was done. The real truth came out when every CCTV footage and every point were examined by connecting them together. No, but yes. Here in all the footage they had seen, the boy was with the boy, meaning Grace Millane and Jesse were together. However, in the last footage seen together in the lift, both were together. But after that, Grace was not seen, and as soon as he was coming and going repeatedly. Alone. The most shocking thing was that a few hours later, he bought a cleaner spray and a suitcase and some garbage bags from a shop below the same building. All this was being captured in that CCTV footage. When the police checked into that hotel room, they found what was feared. There were bloodstains on the room's carpet and unsuccessful attempts to clean up here and there. And something was found everywhere that was bringing him under suspicion. And do you know the most frightening thing here? When the police arrested Jesse and checked his phone, something was found in his browsing history. Jesse had searched about a forest called Venticare Regions, how to bury a body in a desolate place of that forest, and whether bloodstains can be removed with acid. Many such absurd questions and answers were searched, which proved that whoever did it. Right? Immediately after this, the girl's location was found in the same desolate place in the forest, where a tourist had found a large pit-like area. What was found there was a suitcase, and in that suitcase was Grace Millane, wrapped in plastic, with a mark on her neck as if someone had attacked her. Her eyes were open, which was quite scary. This is where the most horrifying case began, because despite Grace's death and this being discovered, Jesse's behavior was very strange. His behavior when he was caught was quite different. When he was arrested, he first did not accept it at all, completely denied it, and started saying that he did not even know her, Grace Millane. When CCTV footage was shown to him, he said that Grace wanted to have bounded sex with him herself, and during this, she died. Now, for those who don't know what bounded sex is, I didn't know either. So I did a little research to tell you that nothing happens naturally here. Unnatural steps are followed, hands and feet are tied. The rest, you are wise enough to understand. I know everyone will know. There's no need to say more. There are no limits here. Anyway, many things were proved to be false to a large extent. As Jesse had said that Grace Millane herself told him that she wanted her neck to be pressed during intercourse, and during this, it accidentally went too far, and she died. But here, post-mortem and forensic evidence proved all this false. Grace Millane's body had marks of forceful strangulation, and there was no voluntary pattern of sexual activity. Her death was a cold-blooded murder. Now, if there was no accident, nothing like that happened, then why did this incident occur? The most frightening and surprising thing is that for Jesse, this was not a new thing. Every few days, he would set up a date on Tinder with a new girl, and then do the same thing. Some girls had also alleged sexual assault against him. But do you know what mistake he made? Here, those girls made a mistake by not filing a case against him. Not only that, but his every word and character were defining themselves and proving him false, because he was neither a businessman nor the son of a rich father, but was working as a waiter at one point. Everything he had told Grace Millane and other girls was a lie, but Grace Millane's death had shaken New Zealand. Such a heinous incident in a peaceful city like Auckland. A crime had occurred, and that too with a tourist who had just set up a date. Grace Millane's body was found the very next day, and New Zealand's entire media and social media was dominated by just one face, Grace Millane. Then, approximately 11 months later, in November 2019, the trial began in the High Court of Holland, and the things that came to light in court were such that many people's sleep was disturbed. Because the prosecution revealed that Jesse had not only killed Grace Millane, but had carefully planned every step to dispose of her body, erase evidence, and cover his tracks. Do you know what the most shocking thing was here? Grace's murder did not happen due to any quarrel or planning, guys, but solely because of a bizarre sex fantasy. Because Jesse had a habit of having physical relations in an unnatural, violent way. He enjoyed choking and adopting other unnatural methods. But that day he crossed the line and Grace Millane lost her life. All because of one person's sick mentality, an innocent soul who had set out to travel the world, never returned home. And seeing all this, people and those things seep into a person's mind, and they adopt them in real life. Now, leave aside his profession, but you should do things that are actually possible. Speaking too much isn't appropriate here for me. Anyway, Jesse's lawyer tried his best to save him, saying that he didn't do it intentionally. It happened during roleplay, but the forensic expert completely disproved this claim. And the post-mortem made it clear that Grace was killed forcibly. The strangulation marks on her neck did not appear to be from any sexual activity, but seemed intentional, and she had also tried to escape with marks of her struggle. After these facts came to light, on November 22, 2019, he was found guilty of murder, and in early 2020, the court sentenced him to at least 17 years. But guys, the story didn't end here. After Grace Mellane's murder, 2 more women came forward with charges of sexual assault and rape against him. The most shocking thing was that before meeting Grace Mellane, Jesse had manipulated his ex-girlfriend in a very similar manner. During their relationship, he would beat her extensively and had attempted to rape her and kill her with a knife. Not only that, even after the breakup, he would stand outside her house with weapons, because of which she had filed a report against him and finally left him. Therefore, after new cases were opened, he was sentenced to an additional 11 years in prison, meaning in total, he received 28 years. And yes, a charity event was started in Grace Mellane's memory in her hometown, which works to provide safety tools and awareness to solo female travelers. Even today, when any girl goes on her first solo trip, she definitely hears Grace Mellane's story. If you found this story very important, please don't just forget it as a horrifying real crime story. Share it so that no other girl loses her life on what could be the best trip of her life. If you have any other crime case that you want me to cover, the comment box is empty and waiting for you. And yes, do subscribe, because I keep bringing such dark, real, and unfolding cases to you. Please say whatever you want in the comments. I really enjoy reading your comments. We'll meet in the next case. Take care until then.